Student loan payments in the United States. Student loan payments have not resumed today, leaving millions of young students in a big unknown. Some students who want to progress in life have not had student loans enabled for 3 years, because the coronavirus crisis has forced the government to pause, leaving millions of young people waiting for what will happen in the future. Something totally sad, since young people are the future of the country, and having them without a good education, the United States could be adrift in a few decades. What will happen in the future and on what date will the student loans be enabled? All this you will know in seconds. Before starting the video, I invite you to leave a like and subscribe to my channel to see more content like this. Without further ado, let's start with the video. We could say that this is another great crisis in addition to the economy that America is suffering, and considering that everything basic is exaggeratedly expensive, for example public health and housing, the only thing that the middle class had in its favor are the student loans, which is actually a loan, but is not free. But first we have to clarify some concepts before continuing. What are student loans in the United States? A student loan is money borrowed by the government, or a private lender to pay for college, because clearly being young and sometimes even without having a job to pay for college, it becomes incredibly difficult to study, especially in an economy where everyone once again leaves the middle class without opportunities. That loan must be repaid later, along with interest that accrues over time. Usually, the money can be used for tuition, room and board, books, or other fees. But some students use the loan money for other things that are not at all related to their studies, which is why some media use this argument so that payments do not resume again. We must be clear on one point: student loans are different from scholarships and grants. Loans always have to be repaid. Scholarships and grants, on the other hand, do not need to be repaid since it is uninterested help, which some universities offer to those students who are eligible to finish university without breaks. Student loans are also different from work-study programs, in which students are paid to work on campus. Taking everything mentioned above into account, how exactly do student loans work? People get federal student loans by completing the free application for federal student aid. Students and their parents share their financial information on the form, which is then sent to the schools of their choice. This is to verify that the student really needs the loan, and not for anything else. The financial aid office at each school crunches some numbers to calculate the amount of aid, if any, the student qualifies for, and then sends them an award letter with all the details about their financial aid offer. This help can come in the form of student loans or in the form of scholarships and grants. Students apply for private student loans directly from the lender. That is a legal document in which the student agrees to repay the loan plus interest, and includes all the terms and conditions of the loan. One of the first actions the federal government took after the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic was to suspend student loan payments. All federal student loans were suspended and the interest rate was set at 0% on March 13, 2020. Going back to when payments will resume, it's really anyone's guess. The Department of Education provided a date for the resumption of student loan bills. This time, they've left things a bit more open-ended, saying bills will restart only 60 days after the dispute over your student loan forgiveness plan is resolved and you can start paying off the debt. So the earliest the bills could be due again would be the end of January, if the legal challenges are resolved by the end of November, though that's unlikely. What could be favorable for the students is the fact that the interest has been frozen, since the payments are not being made. That is why the students could pay off the debt to prevent interest from continuing to increase, because let us take into account that, just as the coronavirus was overcome, several things that were previously prohibited were also reopened, but eventually, despite the fact that there was no specific date for its resumption, sooner or later it will, so students do not have to fall asleep, and could advance payments. Anna Helhosky, student loan expert at nerdwallet.com, had this to say: "You can continue to make payments each month by contacting your servicer, or save the money and make a one-time payment on your highest interest loan before it's due. Interest accrues again when payment resumes. The next step in preparing to make your student loan payments is to find out what your monthly payment will be. A key part of the student cancellation program is that the way payments are calculated has changed. If you are on a standard payment plan, your payment will be recalculated based on the new balance. If you are on a graduated or income-based repayment plan, your payment will now be calculated as 5% of your discretionary income instead of the previous level of 10%. So it will be critical to pay attention to this in particular. Something important that you should keep in mind is, if possible, build your emergency fund. Once payments resume, student loan borrowers who missed payments during the pause will have less disposable income in their budgets. As a result, there will be less money available for other financial goals and financial emergencies that may arise. Before payments resume, now is the time to make sure you have a healthy emergency fund. There is some debate among financial experts, but most recommend saving enough to cover 3 to 6 months of expenses. Don't wait until student loan payments resume to make room for them in your budget. You can get used to having that extra spending in your budget and have some time to adjust any spending habits that might cause you to go over budget. You can use free online personal finance tools to track your monthly expenses and create a sustainable budget. Of course, the situation has been incredibly difficult in the last 3 years. Millions of people are having economic problems due to the coronavirus crisis and the high inflation. That is why there could be the possibility of not being able to pay the loans in the future. There are options to get around this situation, and one option might be to switch to an income-based repayment plan. If you've been on a standard repayment plan for your loans, consider switching to a plan based on income. The federal government offers 4 different income-based plans that limit your payments to a certain percentage of your income. Again, under the student loan repayment program, payments will be limited to 5% of your discretionary income. There is a loan simulator on the Federal Financial Aid website to help you determine what your payments would be with a different payment plan. If you are ready to apply for an income-driven plan, you can apply through the Department of Education website. In the situation that you literally cannot make the payments, there is a step that you must take as soon as possible. You can request the deferral or forbearance of your loans. Both the deferment and the forbearance allow you to request a pause on your student loan payment due to financial hardship. But normally they are used in different circumstances. Depending on the type of loan you have, interest may accrue while your payments are paused and compound when your payments resume if you don't pay it first. If you apply for forbearance or deferment, be sure to make your loan payments until your application is approved so your loans don't go into default. It's hard not to get paid in these later years, but it will be even harder and a bad move for students who can't repay their loans due to financial problems and still stay on the loan plan. Undoubtedly, this is a problem for students who already find it too difficult to afford to pay the high amounts of the universities, as it will also be difficult for them to have to pay the debt that the student loans will generate with their interest. Even worse is having literally nothing, for the reason that the government still has unknowns as to when payments will resume. A complex problem to solve in the future, and it is seen that there is not much interest on the part of the government to resume payments, because it must be clarified that they were paused 3 years ago, which makes the situation more dramatic. If it is not resolved as soon as possible, it could be a very hard blow for future young people who will not be able to finish their studies. Now it's your turn. When do you think student loans will resume? Do you think it will be soon, or some 3 more years? What do you think about loans? Leave me your opinion below in the comments, and if you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel to see more similar videos and activate the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you when we upload a new video. We upload videos every week, don't miss it. You will not regret it.